All right. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Welcome to the Fatherhood Think Tank. Woo! I'm just gonna let you know, technology is a son of a gun. But luckily, when you got enough of it, you can make things happen. And most people can't just get another laptop, get another thing in play, and just set everything up. But we here. Welcome everybody here for. We get about 9. We won't get the full 90 tonight, but we'll get 60 minutes of fatherhood conversation for fathers, about fathers, with fathers, on the emphasis of fatherhood. Tonight's topic, man, I got a message, and it really, I know Lightborn probably feel the same way, because we definitely gonna miss that input. The topic tonight is one that I was listening to NPR, and they were talking about alpha males. And then the question really came to my viewpoint was, why do so many men have strained relationships with their father? And a big part of it is, I think more than anything, becomes a question of what do we do? How do we establish those relationships? And I guess me and Lightborn, and I'm pretty sure some other people will chime in shortly, but me and Lightborn will be able to get that conversation started and kind of like put this in some perspective, because I think that the relationships a lot of times that we have with our fathers, and how those relationships are established, ultimately dictates some of what we want to do with our children, how we want to interact with our children. And I think I see that. I see that. It's very clear. It's very prevalent, very often in a lot of relationships of fathers and children that I see. Mainly fathers and sons. So let me welcome, I guess, my solo partner tonight. We'll see how that goes. Brother Lightborn, welcome. Introduce who you are and let the people know that you got something to say.
Oh man. Hey, good afternoon or good evening rather. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a father to a tribe of 7 young adults, 3 young women, 4 young men, 1 granddaughter, and 1 grandson, which my grandson will be here next week. You can see I'm doing the show. I put him on the show, but I ain't gonna be until after the show. So either way, I'm always ecstatic and enthusiastic to be here. I'm going to represent, and I see 10E. He's listening, so I'm out to be like 2 brains here right now, 2 spirits right now. I got to channel the spirit of 10E, who can only listen right now. Anyway, I thank you guys for being my brothers, and I just can't wait to dive into this conversation.
Well, let me say this before we get in the conversation. There will be no show next week. Let me not say that. There will be a show next week. There will be. People trying to convince me not to, but I think I would prefer to be here and celebrate with you guys next week. So there will be, and it will be on time, because we're going to spend the festivities on the Fatherhood Think Tank. I think that might even be close to the topic, something in that, something into that realm of getting older. When we get older, what happens when you get older as a father and how you operate. We'll talk a little bit about that next week. I just wanted to throw that out there. So be mindful, next week will be a birthday show. Birthday show next week on the Fatherhood Think Tank.
Oh, that's going to be your birthday?
Yeah, to be my birthday.
Well, you should, and listen, you should be actually just put a replay on and that's it, and go out and enjoy your birthday.
Yeah,
that's the wise thing to do.
That's the problem. Yeah,
that's the wise thing to do.
Yeah, but the problem is I have to do it 2 and 3 times, and going out on that night, right, becomes great. Go out all that weekend, come back, and then a couple of days later, got a couple niece birthday. Gotta go to the big thing. Look, too much of that. Listen, I'm trying not to go out and eat every night, man. It's like every night you gotta go out and eat. Listen, we just came back from Atlanta, and I felt like all we did was eat, man. I at some point I said, I don't want to eat no more, man. I'm tired of eating. And let me say this, and I say that also with a humble mind, thinking that there's some people who don't even have that privilege, right? And so I take that. It's not just like, I'm tired of eating, but I'm also thinking in that same cases when you are blessed to be able to do these kind of things, we have to also still think about like think about the trouble that I had of thinking I'm tired of eating. I don't want to eat no more. I ain't getting nothing out to eat. I have to, always think and come back to there's many people, especially when you say you're blessing of the food or what have you. There's people who not even getting ready to get what you got. They're not even gonna taste it, and so you need to be mindful of that and be grateful and thankful that you are able to be in a position that you can even do that. So I don't want to be complaining, but I also it's an observation that sometimes you get with people now y'all do is kind of eat.
But no, Ron, that leads or speaks directly to our topics, because your narrative or scenario is totally opposite of mine. And the reason that being is because I would see myself more, and not that I try to be or even pride myself on being some type of alpha male. I can care less about it, but I am very disciplined, or at least I try to be as disciplined as I can in what God's word says I should be. And sometimes that can be misconstrued as being an alpha male, or just simply being a disciplined male can be misconstrued as being a alpha male. Now, where that speaks to your situation, I'm just talking, that was from my perspective, but from your perspective, how I see it from your perspective, is because you're more flexible, right? Not saying you're not equally as disciplined, but because you're more flexible in who you are, then a lot more of those doors open for you, be it scheduled or unscheduled, because people know that Ron is flexible with his schedule. So niece know they can call you. Everybody know they can call you, and they can take you out and enjoy you. Whereas to me, I'm very stringent when it comes to indiscipline.
Yes, you are. Yes.
I will give the advice that you, if that makes any sense. But that's how, knowing you like I know you, I understand. And it's not, it's both. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's pros and cons with all of it, because I envy that. I would love for people to treat me like they treat you. That's a blessing. But that's not our lot in life. You understand? That's not our personality. That's not our character. Not saying one is bad and one is good.
Right.
It just is what it is. And so, but look at how we sync together on this show. Two separate characteristics, but one unified cause. So I'm grateful for it, and I'm able to see what the value in what you are, even though it may even be the opposite of what I am, and right. I can value that still. And so I'm gonna leave it with that. What's up, Ralph? What's going on, baby?
Get Ralph in here, and then we can come back after Ralph introduce himself. Good night, brother.
Cool J. It's all love, man. How's it going today, man? Hey, I may not always be able to jump on and live in person, but I'm always watching the topics, man. And when I saw this topic here, I said, "Oh, I got to get in the studio for a minute."
Oh, Ralph, just tell us your name and how many kids you have.
Ralph Martin, 6 kids.
All right,
5 grandkids.
So you about to get? You definitely about to put some butter on this biscuit. I already know you got 6 opportunities to put some butter on this biscuit, and I think that it really goes into like point. This is why I love this when we come to the think tank, because whatever we was just talking about can directly go back into, and what we're saying, how the difference that we are as individuals it's so important to also understand that in reference of being in fatherhood. There is differences, and they're operated different, and it doesn't make them good or bad. They make it fit into what situation it is. Like I think about so often that people will make a comparison of their fathers, right? Man, my father was strict. He let us do this and blah blah blah, and da da da. And then you hear the guy say, "My father, man, he he gave us freedom. We could do whatever, blah blah boom boom." And he would, and you had a person say, "Well, I don't even know about any of that because I ain't had no father. I just did whatever I wanted, however I wanted, and the way it went." And each of those people are saying, "Ooh, I wish I could have that father," right? Not really recognizing the idea of everybody is saying, "Yeah, this is how my father was," but the other person said, "I wish my father was like your father," or "I wish my father was," because we don't really know. We just have the experience that we faced, and our experience becomes our reality. And sometimes other people's experiences become our fantasy, and we don't know it might be our fantasy only based on if I don't never get to drink milk. When I see people drinking milk, I want that milk. Even though I might even be lactase intolerant, I'll be saying, man, they drinking that. Look, Ralph drinking the milk, Lightborn drinking the milk, Tenny drinking the milk. Man, I gotta get some of that. I wish I had milk. Then I drink the milk and I can't get off the stool because it's just the idea of thinking that what I see other people not realizing. My people knew that I couldn't drink milk, so they gave me the water. And so we have to sometimes start thinking of that in that capacity. And that's a big part of tonight's conversation.
I think that when it comes to relationships, and you said strained with our boys, right? Why do so many men have strained relationship with their fathers? Well, I think there's a natural, and I think it's very natural because I think it's a naturality that works in the positive as well as the negative. And the positive is where fathers say, "I want my son to do better than me," right? And the negative is when your son says, "I'm gonna do better than you." And so here it is the same narrative because the father wants the son to do better than him. The son says, "I'm going to do better than him." Here they both have the same narrative, but with different motives, right? The dad have a genuine sacrificial motive because he's the dad. That's what, we're conditioned, or we recondition ourselves to be fathers, not just mere men. The son, who haven't really understand what it is to be a dad yet, he see it as a conquering, not a companionship, or the extension of a companionship. The fathers see it as the extension of the companionship and not a conquering. And so I think with that, you have an unconscious competition going on with men that happens instinctively, because I think in the lion kingdom, coincidentally, my name is Lionel, so I need to know a little bit about lions. In the lion kingdom, I think they function instinctively in that capacity where the younger lions are, if they're going to ever be king or respected or relevant in that particular pride, then they have an instinctive, an innate will. I guess we're going to say if an animal had a will, or want to, or necessity rather, that's a better word for it, to conquer the actual existing lion, no matter whether he's a good father or not. Right? I mean, that's the pride. I mean, lion. So I think instinctively, and it's not so much an intelligent or an emotional intelligence, but I think it's an instinctive part of our makeup to want to conquer the dominant male within our culture or in our circle or within the sphere where we live. You see it in everything. You not only see it in a father-son relationship, but you see it in community relationship. I saw it with drug dealers. And the minute that one drug dealer, which could be the kingpin, he becomes more knowledgeable and a little bit more wise, what happened is the younger drug dealers will take that particular wisdom for weakness. See how that works? He becomes wise, so he see a better way to do things, to shed less blood, to guarantee longevity, and for their life, for the whole purpose of getting this thing. Listen, we didn't get in this thing to die. We got in this thing to survive, and I want to show you guys how to survive longer without going to jail or dying. And of course, the younger hustlers in the game would automatically see that as weakness, and eventually, when somebody would just take him out, just to gain the status of who he is, and not the wisdom of who he is or the service of who he is. So that's just my take on it. But I'm pretty sure Ralph has another extensive take on it, and he can share it with you.
Now I want to take it back to you and I, Lionel, when we was at it was either Northwestern or North Miami, and there was something one of them said about their dads, and I'll never forget this. And you see how Lionel has a way of breaking things down. And Lionel says, because I even looked at it with my relationship with my dad, and then my son relationship with me, and this has always stuck with me. Lionel said, when you're talking about strained relationships with fathers, are you talking about the fathers who were never present and showed up later in life? Are you talking about the fathers that are in the house? Are you talking about the fathers that are in the house but not in the house? Or are you talking about the ATM fathers that child support created? Or are you talking about those fathers who just come and drop gift offs? Or those fathers who say, hey, pack your stuff, I'm coming to get you, but they never show up? Each one of those relationships creates a different kind of strain. And when Lionel said that, I never forget that. When I said, man, I think I started like, yeah, my dad used to do that. He used to do that. And each one of those gives you a different kind of strain, because each relationship is different and each father is different. Like, I've been that ATM father with child support. Man, that creates a strain in your relationship with your son or your daughter, because when they want more, sometimes it's like, ooh, child support done took that money, I really can't do no more. Now that creates a strain between you and your kids, like, oh man, you just don't want to do no more, daddy, you can. But they don't understand that dichotomy of being an ATM dad. Or either like my father used to be that dad who just, hey, I'm gonna just give you some money, man, but he never spent any time. And so different father, whichever father you fall into, it creates a different kind of strain as it pertains to your child. And so that has always stuck with me. I see it in my family. I see it among other friends. And I think when you begin to look at through the lens of a strained relationship, which kind of dad you had at home, and then you begin to see which kind of strain that put on you. Because like, if you have a dad who just always who is there but not there, meaning those dads who always work and you can't get the time back, it's like, man, all the graduations have come and gone, man. You missed everything. And it's like, man, sometimes it always takes a life-changing event for those fathers to see, man, I really messed up. Like, I really messed up. Like, and let me take it to me. I'm going to give you me and my older sister. My older sister has a bachelor's, an MBA, PhD. My daddy ain't never show up to not one graduation. I got my bachelor's from FAM. I got an MBA. I got a law degree. My dad never showed up to any one of those. So that created a strain with us, because we're like, wait a minute, man. This is what we should be celebrating. Yet instead, we looking around to see if he came. My grandma and all his brothers was there, but we looking around for validation from him.
Yeah. But let me ask you this, Ralph, and I guess this is a question I always, when I'm working with fathers and their children, even thinking of my own self, of some fathers haven't dealt with them yet, right? And the idea that, hey, here are moments to celebrate your children, that whatever the relationship was, if they gave you an invitation to come, why would you not take it? Why would you not show up? And I sometimes wonder, like, we are easy to say, see, he don't want to be there. He don't, he, a narrative. Sometimes there's narratives put on fathers, right? From everybody else. And a lot of times fathers don't do a good job of sharing their own narrative. And because I don't think they know how to, and it sometimes is comfortable. They become comfortable, or we become, I think the man's mentality is you believe what you want to believe. I know what the truth is, right? I know what and you can either come, and this is ego. I mean, I had a conversation with me and my dad. We was driving back from lunch. He was saying, we got to be careful with our egos, right? Our egos make us say, okay, this is my way, and I'm a stand and down this hill because I have an ego about something. Instead of saying, how y'all really feel about me coming to this thing? Because I don't know how I feel about coming. Instead of having that conversation, is a much easier thing. Just don't show up, because you then not showing up means I I don't have to face it, and I can pretend like it never happened. I can take, on the side tip, because also, I thought about this as you was telling the story. You said everybody else was there, but he wasn't there. Also, the part that sometimes people are scared of what people will say about them. We sometimes forget that what people feel and say about us make us feel. Because I know many times somebody's man show up there, he doing all, he got the thing. People that look at that, he ain't did nothing with them kids the whole night. Now he trying to come and celebrate them. And it's kind of like, you got to almost say, we don't know unless we have a conversation with our fathers or with those parents to find out, hey, what's going on, or what's the deal, and how, even to the point, sometimes we might even have to go and say, hey, before this happens, go and say, here's what I want to do. This is what I want to find. This is what I need you to do. And a lot of times as kids, we're not comfortable with that, right? Because we feel that a parent's role, a father's role should automatically want to do that. Sometimes I think it's a lot of times I remember this. I used to watch a show called 24. And the one thing that used to eat me up about 24 was somebody would know something. They would be in the same room and they never even talked about it. And the whole show could have been over. They could have solved everything could have been solved right that minute. The second that person walked out the room who had the information, they could have told the person that made something happen, that he died. Something always happened in that show. And I used to think about, this is how life is sometimes for us. We don't have the conversations that ultimately lead us to these big blow-ups that we could have at some point figured it out and made it work out. But we just didn't. We just don't sometimes. And I say don't have the skills or didn't know how to do it or which way to do it. And sometimes we felt like, whose responsibility and roles is it to do it? Many times as grown adults, as kids, I feel that we still feel our parents should be a certain way. They should take the lead of being the parent. Despite it, sometimes we got to just say, hey, listen, I'm going to get away from the parent-child dynamic and move to the man-man dynamic. Because as I would tell another man something very clear, but I would tell it to him as a man, not as a child. Because that's where also some problems come. You go to your father as a man, but acting as a child. I would tell him as a man, because as a man, what I'm doing with my children as a man and as a father is different. Because my children are still children. They can't talk to me like a man. I am your child, but I'm a man and I've experienced life and I can talk to you about things as a man, and I want to do so. And I hope that this can put us in a place where you can feel comfortable. Because I think that a lot of times we grow, and we do become better than our parents, right? But we're still their children, so we still feel, and I would say respect, and we show deference to them in things, even when we should really be taking the lead, because they don't have the experience or the knowledge, but they have the seniority of being an elder. But sometimes that's why in the African culture, many parts of the African culture, they have a circle with everybody in the circle. not just the elders, the young people in the circle as well, because the elders don't know some of the things that the young people know, and the young people don't know some of the wisdom and experience that the older people have, and it helps the circle of the village and the community to work out better, not just one person saying, I know everything, and then you get this battle. So I would suggest to people out there, I would, if you having these type of things, communication is a key, and not emotional communication, rational communication, logical communication. Because when we go emotional communication, we start thinking about how we feel. And there's nothing wrong with how we feel, but that person's going to start talking about how they feel. And now we're in a conversation about feelings instead of what we need. I need you to show up, Father, because I want not just you to celebrate me, but I want you to be able to be celebrated by me, by this achievement. If that's what you're interested in. You don't want to do it, I mean, there's nothing I could do, nothing I could, I can't make you, but they should make them think.
That's beautiful. No, it really is beautiful. That actually is beautiful. I think too many times our narrative as men, because, and I wouldn't say that men don't communicate effectively. Let me be clear, because let me kill that monster, that boogeyman, or that big ass ignorance. Men don't communicate effectively. That's garbage. I'm like, we don't communicate emotionally, but no such thing as we don't communicate effectively. And I think oftentimes we allow people, in particular bitter people, to hijack our narrative. And we're just a victim of our narrative always being hijacked. And so anytime you have a situation like what you just explained, or what Ralph just explained, and it's automatically dismissed as ego, right? It's 3 E's, maybe even 4 E's you could have used, but you used ego just as a straight dismiss, because somebody just thought that, oh, we have the right, because you're not saying nothing, you understand, to hijack your narrative of whatever ignorance we're getting ready to say. And so most people just dismiss it at ego. No one would ever say, you know what? Let's consider here's the second E, experience, right? Here's the third E, embarrassment. But we don't want to think that men can have experiences and embarrassments, right? We don't, because men are not privy to that. You understand? Men are not seen as victims, not even of their own choices and decisions. So we don't get that benefit of the doubt to be to either have our experiences validated or our embarrassments validated. We're just automatically dismissed as egos, and that is it, which is far from the truth. And so I would say to anybody, even if you're inviting your absent father who just couldn't be there for whatever reason, whatever experiences, whatever embarrassments, he couldn't be there, you got to first search your reason, or ask yourself, what's the reason I want him to be there? Why do I want him to be there? And do I want him to be there to either validate those experiences, or guess what? Or expose his embarrassments? Or better yet, to embarrass him with our experiences. What you said, because I've witnessed that too, Ron. As soon as you showed up, and even though the child invited him, he's met with an immediate embarrassment. How dare this person show up? Blah, blah, blah. And just on a strict ridicule, who would want to show up for that? You understand? And I think it would take a wise man to not show up, to already understand what he's going to show up for. And he would never really get to experience the full enjoyment or congratulations or accolades of his child. You understand? Because he have to first endure the embarrassments of people who don't have nothing to do with his child other than whatever contributions. Not because you care for my child because I wasn't there. You care for my child because that's your, you know what I'm saying, that's your family. Don't tell me you was like a surrogate me. You understand? And sometimes with people, even if the child don't make the father indebted, you understand, to him, you have other family members that will try to make the child, you understand, make that father indebted. You understand? Okay. The child,
like boy,
but I don't. I'm like, what the hell you got to do with anything?
Like you bring something up. You bring something up that, and I want to also see. I see Chuck here. Good night, Chuck. You can come in.
How y'all doing tonight?
Hey, good night. Good night. Welcome, brother. Glad to have you here. I just wanted to say this when you were saying that about people trying to make you feel embarrassed as the father when you show up, right? And like they would, and it's funny because those same people who would do that, if you was a dead father, they wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't. I've seen it 1,000 times. You a father who's not around, they do a lot of stuff for the kid, or try to do a lot, try to be involved, try to be in all of this, because you still somewhere, so they can have the narrative to say, "See what I did for your kid and you didn't do." Now, if you dead and gone, them same people don't flip a finger. They'd be like, "Hey, that ain't my problem." Listen, and there's some people who do, but I'm saying a lot of them people that be going dead, like trying to go hard for you and doing things when your father is not around. If you didn't have no father, they definitely wouldn't be doing those things. Like, hey, this kid ain't got nowhere to go. Can he live with anybody? Oh, man, my wife said we can't. Mumble, jumble. It's all those things, man. He maybe got to stay with his grandma. He can't come stay. He need a father figure. You say you're gonna be a father figure. You say you're gonna be the uncle, or you're gonna be the cousin or the great, but it doesn't happen. So I say to dads, don't feel no way tired about your children. Don't feel self-conscious. Don't feel whatever, because they're your children. Go out there, and if you got to listen, I'm gonna tell you, if you got to go out there and go hide at the highest, like they had a thing in the stadium, you go down there and hide somewhere in the upper nosebleed, get your little binoculars. You text them, you tell your kid, especially today you got text message. You can text the kid and say, "I seen you, congratulations. But I don't want to be, I seen you. I think it was great, and let's talk later." Because and that leaves open the door for you to be able to say, "I don't want to be a part of the ridicule, all of that, but I wanted to be here for you." And I was. Because the only reason I gotta be here is for me to see you. And if I need to see you, I'll tell you, "Hey, meet me, such as," but I really don't want to be around all them people, because they we might not have good blood, or I got to be fake and phony with them. They got to say stuff about me that are any of those things happen. But sometimes it's the opposite way. You may, by doing that, and this is what I tell you, sometimes by showing up, you may change people's opinion, and they may take your side, because not always everybody against you. Right? Sometimes there are people fighting for you, arguing for you, but they don't got no ammunition. You ain't gave no ammunition for the support, because a lot of times family members know their brother, they know their sister, they know their family members. They know that when they was a kid, they were selfish. They want everything their way. We just know that those things happen. So
I'll tell you another kind of strained. Another instance where you can have a strained relationship with your father is what happened to my sister and I. So my father ended up having other kids, right? So when we met this other siblings, they was telling us about how he came to the PTA meetings, how teachers knew who he was, and he came to graduation and sports events. So me and my sister looked at each other like, "What damn dad y'all talking about?" And you know what? That not only created a strain among us, a further strain with him, but it also created a strain with our siblings, because we each had a different view of him. They had a view that was way up here, and the father that they got to know, we didn't know. So that's the strained relationship with the parent, whether it's mom or dad, that can actually create a strained relationship with your siblings too.
right.
And I think when he saw that, I think for the first time when he and I ended up having a one-on-one talks, and I was like, "Well, what happened?" It was the pressures of life, he says, and he left Miami and went to Atlanta. But I was like, "Wait a minute, but you still was back and forth between Miami and Atlanta. You could have stopped, even if it was for 5 or 10 minutes. But I have a closer relationship now with his brothers, my uncles, who were always there. And I can see the envy and jealousy that he has in him because of that. But at the end of the day, he understands that his strained relationship with he and I created opportunities for my uncles. And so I think that, man, you all raise valid points, man. Like sometimes you do have family members who will talk crap about the daddy that's not there. And I've seen mom say, "Oh, I done did all this myself. I no need to call your daddy. What he gonna do? All he want to do is show up when it's time to be present for something." And so sometimes the strained relationship between, father son, that can actually be created by the mom too. Mm-hmm. Especially if the mom is angry and bitter, or especially if she feels like she ain't getting the support she need, whether it's monetarily or, just a phone call from dad. But I mean, there's all kind of pressures that create strains between sons, daughters, and their fathers. And you know what? For some reason, you don't see that strain in other parts of the world, or it's just not. Let me just say this: it's not as publicly known as it is here in America.
Right. And not even in America, it's not as publicly displayed as it is in our community. And that's what the part that I have a problem with sometimes. And that's another reason why I advocate on this platform for us to get out of an idea believing that we are people who are in dysfunction. All human beings are in dysfunction. It just depends on who presents it and how they present it and how it displays itself. If you listen, you can ask people working in family court. Family court, black families is only about at the most 100% of the family court. Black families only about 30%. Only 30% of the family court. So if the black family is only 30%, what's the other 70%? What them people doing? They ain't in family. Everything ain't great in that other 70%. But a lot of times, what happens, I think, in our community, and I'm gonna say, I think this is what really happens for us in our community completely, because we have been so feeling like we can't ever win. Everything that happens to us, we publicize to look for someone to empathize or sympathize with our plights, right? We're looking for it so much. We're never seeing a win. And that goes for the men, it goes for our women, it goes for us as families. We sometimes go and look like we asking for, and I don't asking for this what I like to say, validation of what we're facing. We don't want handouts. We just want somebody to validate. And what we a lot of times see is people have no validation for us. They validate all kinds of other people and have justifications for, and they look at us saying, as a people, like we should be good because we allegedly so resilient. You're so resilient.
Ron, it's Chuck. Go ahead and kick in, and then I'll come out behind you.
I got the kids with me. I'm just listening today. I really ain't even hear what the topic was.
Okay.
All right, Chuck, just introduce yourself and tell us how many kids you have.
I'm Chuck Henry. I got 2 kids of my own. I got a 15-year-old and I got a 5-year-old son. My daughter's the 15-year-old. That's my oldest. But I'm a single parent, trying to take it one day at a time and figuring this thing out with the help of you guys.
All right, awesome, Chuck, man. And always, as usual, just welcome to the show, man. And thank you for being the father that you are. I was thinking about parenting when between Ralph and when you were talking, Ron. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here because I have to. You remember, I have to empathize too because I know what it is. Know what I say? Use the word parent. And so when I want to be neutral or universal when it comes to mothers and fathers, I have to use the word parent because that means I'm getting ready to take both sides. I could see parenting like a gin and juice song, like Snoop Dogg. So I can't say I totally don't understand it because I remember gin and juice, and it's something that always stuck out to me. Snoop said something to the fact that everybody got a cup, but they ain't chipped in. Right? And so I can understand the logic of making the sacrifices for a child and raising a child and doing everything you have to do to the child to get that child to that particular point of graduation or whatever the accolade may be. And so I can understand it as being everybody got a cup, but they ain't chipped in. And that is true. We will set up, and this is just not only just for fathers who are not there, but family members that are not there. We will show up for the drafts.
Right, yeah.
I don't want y'all to just think this is a fatherhood issue. This is just a people issue. I mean, people who didn't have nothing to do with your life, people who just downright hated you or even thought you were going to fail or predicted your failure will show up to your draft, your graduation, whatever. So that's just the indignant or the degenerateness of people. But I can say this. You own the narrative of your life. You own the narrative of whatever grace and mercy and forgiveness that you want to give. And you have to be careful to not let people taint that. I think the Bible says to whom much is given, much is required. How I understand that now is you have to be wise enough and most importantly, loving enough to be kind enough to say, you know what? In spite me getting here without you, you understand? This gives me the opportunity to be to you what you wasn't to me. And sometimes people don't have the courage, right? And this is on both ends. I might not have had the courage to be your father, but it doesn't mean that you need to lack the courage to be my son. And so once that wisdom and that love and that empathy kicks in, and then it fosters, you'll be surprised how your father can become a fan of you when usually children are a fan of their fathers. And that's reciprocal. It works both ways. You got some fathers, man, who look up to their children tremendously. Like, wow, they're big fans and their children are the heroes as opposed to them be. And so oftentimes if you shun or snub the opportunity for your father or your absent parent to be your absent parent, then you can snub the opportunity to actually be a hero that you never knew you could be. And I think a lot of time that is not explained because people usually talk from a place of bitter and not better. And it's very rare you hear people come with the narrative or come from a narrative of being better as opposed to being bitter. And most of the time it's a bitter narrative, which separates. So I just wanted to share that part with you guys. So, and again, that's what I'm thinking from more of a parent perspective as opposed to just being a gender mother or father perspective.
Right. Oh, look who couldn't.
Look who kicked in.
Look who can't resist.
What's up, T.E.?
Can't resist.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Hey, I just wanted to I don't even know if I can kind of add to what Brother Lionel was saying there, because that's exactly that's why I listen to this group, because all of our experiences with our fathers are very different. And it's basically how you respond to that. And I'm just extremely grateful for the father that I had, in spite of, I guess, any deficiencies that I saw, because it was those deficiencies that empowered me to go beyond what I even thought I was capable of. And not that I'm all that, great of a dad, but I think that those experiences that I've had the positive and the negative with my father helped shape me to be the man that I am, and I'm just very fortunate to have taken whatever opportunities were given to me to try and make the best of it. And I think that's all we can do. Sometimes we can enslave ourselves to the bad history, and will keep us from moving forward in the direction that we need to make. So my compliments and my hat goes off to all you gentlemen, because you're the living embodiment of what it means to move past and beyond, your relationship with your dad.
As usual, Teeny, you never disappoint. Always a pleasure to hear from you, man. Ron, you're trying to talk, but I can't hear you.
No.
I can hear you, but you're like very faint.
I'm very faint.
I can hear you now. Yeah, you're clear. Go ahead.
So what I was saying is I'm so glad that Tenny came on, because see, here's an example of when we talk about looking at certain narratives and how we may come to a conclusion, like we may feel some way about something. Me, just to my mindset, Tenny is definitely what I would, right? I know he may not recognize, he may not, he may not promote that. I mean, I say, hey, I know I'm a great father, but based on what I have experienced in reference to being around him with his children, right? And how, yes, everything he wanted them to do, the way he wanted them to do it, they didn't do it, but he has appreciated who they are and who they become, right? And when I think about that, we talk so often about looking at all the sides, right? And I don't know if Tenny was at every graduation. I don't know if he was at everything that they had, if he did everything he was supposed to do. But I have a strong idea that he did. I have this idea that he did because the impression I get from his children. Children give us and show us a lot of times who and what type of father we are. If pure, and let me be very clear about this, and I want to be clear about it. Pure, when it's pure from them, pure kids with no influences, no alienation, when it's just a pure kid and the father, kids can tell us exactly what kind of father you are, based on their interaction, based on who they have come, because of who they became. Because people like to pretend like, oh, the kids, there's nothing I hate more than I hear a parent speak to me and say, I don't know what's wrong with this kid. I don't know where they get in this from. And I almost want to say, they not getting it from us at the school. Okay. They getting it, whatever they getting, they starting with you. And you are the strength of whatever they're going to be, how they're going to be, and what they go forward and go to. So if they're successful, we know you was working for them to be successful. And sometimes it's hard to admit that sometimes we didn't do everything we could have did or should have did for our kids. Sometimes we have, some people say, I let him do what he wanted to do because I thought I'd give him that opportunity. I didn't push him. I know Ed said this one time. He, about his son in the acting. He said he thought he should do something else, but his son said, I want to do this and I'm going to do that. And look where he get him. But sometimes that's because also the push. See, it's not as simple as he could just do it. He knew he had to do it because he told his dad, this is what I want to do, right? His dad had a strong influence about what you should do. And then it's, hey, it's either this, I got to prove, and I hate to say sometimes I got to prove my parents wrong, but sometimes proving your parent wrong can be hella successful for you and them later on in life. So, and I'm not going to say it always. Sometimes it's not the best proving your parents wrong. But a lot of times it makes people very successful. Here, perfect example. I forget the fighter's name, but he undefeated. What's his man's name? He said the reason why he was the best fighter because his mama said he wasn't gonna be nothing. He wasn't gonna be no good fighter. She was a mean lady when he was a kid.
Not Tank.
Not Tank. The other brother. The brother who
Crawford?
Crawford, yes, Crawford.
Okay.
Is that Crawford from he married to his wife and people was talking about
Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's Crawford then. Yeah. They were saying about his wife and that he married to his wife and why would he be married to a woman like that when he got all this fights? Because that's the woman he loved. Listen, that's the woman he loved. You should get what society say, but I think this is the perfect example of like kids proving that, hey, and some people would look that his mom was bad for what he did, but what's the results? What was the results of it? Look, I think the number one dad that people said was a bad guy, Joe Jackson. You hear it all the time. Joe Jackson was horrible. Joe Jackson beat the kid. He was abusive. They work, and that's slave. But listen, I don't think one of the Jacksons is on the street homeless. They not, I don't think I think they have some of the best and still do have some of the best lifestyles, some of the happiness that, and again, if you want to start weighing, well, look at this and look at that. Well, look at that for everybody though.
But bro, let's think about it. You know why that happens? And unfortunately, what happens is because, remember I told you, you let people hijack your narrative. Mm-hmm. And so people will cause something dysfunctional for others to hide their disenfranchisement of what they did to others. That makes sense? And so, of course, I'm going to use the word dysfunctional because I don't want to be accountable to why you're disenfranchised. And we don't even want to talk about the disenfranchised because what it does when you talk about the word disenfranchised versus dysfunctional, the disenfranchised turns the mirror around to how your privilege, you understand, may have been predatory or perpetrated or predicated on somebody else, you or your lineage or however you got to be in privilege. You understand? Being perpetrated on you being a predator or your ancestors being a predator to somebody else. So, of course, I'm going to use the word dysfunctional to separate, you understand, from the accountability of you really being disenfranchised. And so I think, again, when we're going to have those courageous conversations, sometimes you have to call people at that particular moment. Because sometimes people talk about, oh, this is what I love about us, because it's just us. Oh, you could have waited for a better time to say it. I'm like, what? I live by my mama rules. You know what my mama said? Where you do it at is where you're going to get it at. That's my mama rules. And so I'm not going to give you that privilege. You said that ignorance in public is my responsibility, my accountability to check you publicly. You understand? And so you never, ever be comfortable with doing that kind of ignorance again. Mm-hmm. Right. And if you let people be ignorant long enough, they're going to think your whole culture is ignorant. Or your whole church is ignorant.
Lightborn, because saying it in private does not have the same oomph that it does in public, right? Because I can tell you something. Well, I could do something you could tell me something on the show. We could be telling each other something on the show. We have to hear it, and we're gonna have to hear it. We're gonna listen to it. Now, different from me say, oh, you could call me behind the scenes, Lightborn, and tell me that. Listen, when you tell me, I ain't listening. Right? You telling me, you can tell me all you want. I already had in my mind, I ain't listening. I don't have a choice in this situation to have to listen and listen to it over and over again and think about it and really begin the process. Let me think about that. Let me really think about it. In the private back room, it could, that whole, I'll talk to him about it later. Well, talking about it later means that it ain't when it happened though. And later you lost your feelings about it. And I even might have forgot I even did it. So what you talking about? I don't even remember what you're talking about.
And the best thing about it, Ron, it's a part of the disenfranchisement we were just talking about. Disenfranchisement says this. It doesn't know the difference between challenging people and embarrassing. And so we think challenging people, right? Because this is what disenfranchisement would do to you. It would take or misconstrue challenging people as embarrassing people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. I'm like, how can you can be my teacher, you can be my pastor. If we're in a public forum and you say something, right, that's incorrect, then truthfully, if I love you, you understand, then I'll find a way to correct that thing you just said, as opposed to letting everybody leave the room ignorant. And I'm going to be honest with you. We have generations of people, because they don't understand the difference between challenging and challenging and embarrassing. And we have generations of people who have allowed congregations of people to leave the room ignorant. And then that is something that we definitely have to address. That's another show.
Another show, another day. Yes, sir. This topic is so good, and the reason why I feel like it is such a good topic because, as much as it may look like we're talking about why the relationships can be strained, it's not just a negative. I want to really make very clear that people hear the idea that a relationship is strained, that it means that it has to be a negative. Sometimes the relationship that is strained could be on both ends. It could come from both parent and child. And it could be not just through the parent paradigm, right? The parent-child paradigm. It could be based on the human paradigm. The mainly for especially grown adults who are children and parents, the adult paradigm, the way I am as an adult, the way you are as an adult, they don't coincide, and I do things different than, how you may do things, despite you being my parent or despite me being your child. And that's where sometimes we see conflict come in, and we see some of that resentment. But those are things for, as I like to say, is one to grow on. I'm giving opportunities for families and friends to develop and learn about each other. And it doesn't have to be one person narrative determines how the rest of the family goes. There's not this one, this is how it goes and this is how it continues to be, because sometimes the next generation found a better way to be.
But I think, again, a lot of times we have too much intellectualism going on when it comes to this particular topic. The problem with that is this, and I can remember with me and Ralph, I can remember now with me and you, even Chuck right now, 10E. I think being a father, or particularly being a parent, but particularly being a father, is so instinctively empowering. Notice it, instinctively empowering, that we don't even have a science for it. And so I know, without sitting down talking to Ralph, right? We never had no discussion about this. I never had to tell Ralph, you know what? I'm a good father. You need to be a good father. Or I'm an involved father. You have to be an involved father. Ralph encountered me being a father. I encountered him being a father. And we understood that that our friendships, right? It's not only going to be predicated upon how we treat each other and respect each other, and how we handle our friendship, but our friendship can also be predicated on how we treat our children. And so I didn't have to tell Ralph, oh, you need to be a good father, what kind of father you are, or whatever the case may be. I already knew that it was important for Ralph to be a father to his child, and Ralph already knew it was important for me to be a father to my child. And I'm talking about instinctive. No conversation need to be had. I mean, literally none. And so how do you explain the fact that here it is, we never spoke about this, right? But we understood the importance of being good parents and good fathers to our children. And so when we talk about letting people hijack our narrative, just because you don't have a commercial for who you are and what you are, doesn't mean what you are and who you are don't exist. And so we can't let people hijack or better yet make us non-existent because we don't have a highlight reel for who we are, or we're not braggadocious in who we are. We just have a necessity to be who we need to be. And that's how what you see on this show right here. We didn't have no accolades, this and that. We didn't have any intellectual status or whatever the case may be to become fathers. It's just something that we just had to be, needed to be, and most importantly, wanted to be. And that's what I can recommend to every guy on here. And that's what keeps me intact, in tune with you. Matter of fact, you got a friend for life. What Chucky said, I'm your friend to the end. Because we have that particular commonality. We're instinctively, literally instinctively connected for the rest of our life and our being. Because we created and we're committed to this thing called fatherhood that have changed the narrative statistically on so many levels. I can't wait to see the next statistic, because the last 2015 statistic said Black fathers were the best, doing the best with their children in the whole country. Not being braggadocious. I'm just going on the science. That was the last statistics out about fathers when it came to fatherhood story.
Well, so, listen, like boy, let me tell you what has been my experience about certain things. When you hear something talked about a lot, right? Especially when it's a lot of allegedly negative things, that means that they are doing something, and that it doesn't always have to be negative. They are being seen in the light, right? So I think about so often that there was a narrative that Black fathers was not at the level, they are deadbeats, they all these things. Then when CDC did their census, they found out that that was completely the opposite, especially from 0 to 3 to 4 to 2 to 3, right? And then people then said, well, but what about after 2 and 3? What happened? And they not, listen, everything is with context, because we're talking about from before birth until that time. There's something that happens after that time that's a whole nother study, not the study of father's engagement, right? Initial engagement. We're talking about the engagement. Most of these fathers, and this is a big part that's so important that a lot of people disregard. They would love to say that, hey, these fathers have never been involved with their children, right? And I advocate so much that a lot of the fathers, especially Black fathers, was involved with their children prior to the children. They was involved with the mothers. They was there for the birth certificate, all the way up until a certain point in there that some relational things happen between these two people that then set the tone for the child not to be so engaged with the father, right? But you can't change that the child initially had that father in their life at the beginning. That is a big part. Now the kid, in that, let's say from 8 years old to 12, the father wasn't there. It doesn't change from birth to 8 that the father was there. The child has this atmosphere.
But you can stop at the original narrative, which you said 0 to 3, because what that does is kill the original stereotype. Is Black children don't know their fathers.
Right, exactly. Right,
right. And so
right. Like, bro, I gotta go. Listen, I want to make sure I bring all the paperwork. I try to bring, I know that first paper was enough, but I like to bring more paperwork to say, because I'm always looking for the naysayers. Are gonna say, well, what happened after that? Listen, something happened, but that doesn't change what we're saying is they are engaged, they are involved in their children's life. But something happens, just like but guess what? This means that we are the people that you have your eyeballs on, because we obviously are doing something. You're not talking about other people. Why? Not because they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You don't have any evidence. You can't look at them. You don't see what they go. So how you talk about us? And that's what I've always said with statistics that come for, I would say statistics that come out about people in certain demographics is because those people have to go to certain agencies and organizations for services that give their information out, whereas other people who they go to don't give their information out. And that is a vital part of when someone tells me about statistics or something, I question immediately, because you are only getting you're getting a subsample, the subsample that you could get to present this for all people.
But but the cultural shock value in this whole thing, in that particular study, is the fact that the statistics just became the standard. You understand? That's even greater than Barack Obama becoming president, which was actually, which I love it, which was actually, because it lets me know if the statistics became the standard, that means the work was being done pre-Obama presidency, because the statistic happened in the middle of his presidency. So that means that this work and all that stuff, and this study was already being done to have that type of successful outcome. So now, if you're not used to the statistics being the standard, of course it's going to be a cultural shock to most people. And I would tell anybody, I'm like, and particularly all the fathers on here, keep doing what you do. Keep on defying, and I mean defy the statistics, because my pastor always once said, you're not what people call you, you're what you answer to. And I love that part. You are not what people call you. You are what you answer to. And so don't allow people, or don't answer people statistics about you. Create a new standards that they can't deny. And I'm going to leave that way it's at, Ron. I'm pretty sure we have time. Man, but I appreciate all you guys on here.
Yeah, listen, guys, I just want to thank you, man. Thank you for another night of, listen, I don't know what they serving down at the bar. I don't know what they serve down at the bar, down at the strip club, or at the cigar bars or whatever. But listen, it clearly ain't is what I'm getting when I come here, man. I just saying, because it is for my soul. I get to actually hear thoughts that may not be my own, but are similar to what I'm thinking, and some that can be corrective to how I'm thinking. I think that's the biggest part of this think tank, is coming to a place, what I'm thinking about, thinking one way, hearing so many different men who are don't have to be like-minded, right? Give their points of views about the topic and the subject, and then me being able to process it and think about how that fits or changes my narrative of how I want things to be, and really it helps me check myself, check what I'm thinking, check how I'm moving, check what I'm going to be doing. And so I just want to again thank you guys for your time of coming on. You could be doing anything right now. You be watching the Final Four, like the people be doing, like the Final Four, all those things that people do with the games and even taking some time to be with your kids during this 60 to 90 minutes. But I say I thank God that you guys come on here and have these conversations, because without this, I don't know if we don't know sometimes whose life we might be saving when they stroll on their social media and see some of this and listen to just one thing Tinny might have said, or something that Lightborn might have said, something that Ralph or Chuck, just who popped in on the day, said, and then it was like, oh man, that resonates with me, and let me think about this in another way. Let me go about this another way. So this is a big thing. So folks, you out there, please like, share, subscribe, so you can be on time and get with us and see us when you need to see us here at the Fatherhood Think Tank. I want to now just before we close out, I just want to again appreciate our sponsors who sponsor our Fatherhood Think Tank. Really recognize them, and if you have ability to to do that, first let's start with our first sponsor, and that is our JAG attorney at law. Miami-Dade, Broward, West Palm Beach. You can go to Jag Attorney at Law, practicing law in South Florida. If you need to get in contact with him, his information is Jag Attorney at Law, Johnny A. Gaspar Esquire. It's j.gaspar at jag1law.com. Phone number 305-827-8087. Or if you want to go check out what type of law he provides, just hit him up at www.jag1.com. He is has been one of our key sponsors since he joined. Sometimes you can see him right here on the platform when he's not busy working these cases that you guys might be going to hire him for. Jag Attorney at Law, Johnny A. Gaspar Esquire. Our main sponsor has been a sponsor all the time, or most of the time. I'm just with these guys this weekend in Atlanta, the Fort Lauderdale chapter of Omega Psi Phi Zeta Chi chapter in Fort Lauderdale. They have always been a supporter of our Fatherhood Think Tank, so we definitely want to always give them their kudos and the advertisement that we need. They are doing great things in the community. If you're looking for it, listen, one thing I would say to people, they have a beautiful young men mentor program called Lamplighters. Just look up the chapter you had a phone in your hand, look it up, Zeta Chi, go to their website, leave a message if you're interested in getting maybe your son involved in their Lamplighter group and other things. Go to their website, Zeta Chi chapter, to see the things that they have going on in the community in Broward County, Florida. Definitely, we look forward to that. I also want to go to our other sponsor on the other side of the country. The brothers of Zeta Xi Nu chapter of Omega Psi Phi, the Lagos, Nigeria chapter. Yes, those brothers in Nigeria are out there doing fatherhood think tanking, just like everybody else. They're fathers just like us. They're dealing with issues and dealing with how to maintain to be a positive father in the community. So we just want to thank them for their support here with the Fatherhood Think Tank through their fatherhood initiative. Definitely want to be able to welcome them. Right now, they probably won't be watching right now. They probably watch the replay unless they stay up late, early into the morning, because as over in Nigeria is a whole nother time zone, way different. And then our last final fatherhood initiative group is here in Philadelphia, the Omega Lambda chapter of Omega Psi Phi, the Philly Qs, established in 1980. They are also supporters of the Fatherhood Think Tank through their fatherhood initiative that I participate in. So those are, I definitely always want to give those sponsors, those people who support us, that you just don't know they support us, but they support us behind the scenes and in the scenes, and everywhere else that they do. Last but not least, guys, if you cannot get in touch with me, you need to get in touch with someone. Fatherhood call center, a helpline for dads, 1-877-4-DADS-411. Is offered by the National Responsible Fatherhood Clearinghouse and Fatherhood Incorporated. Always a place to kind of maybe question things you need, what's going on, and also looking for local fatherhood programs in your local area that you may not, that you may be looking for to get involved with. So that's the information I have. Again, I want to thank the guys tonight for everything. I mean, I think we had a really fruitful show, a lot of good information. And with that being said, Father, repeat after me. I am a man of honor.
I am a
I
man
am
of
a man
honor.
of honor.
I am
I
I
am.
am.
I am
I
I
am.
am.
I am a man of courage.
I am
I
a man.
am a man of courage.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
Fathers, I say that I am.
I am.
I say that you are.
You
You
are.
are.
I say that we are.
We are.
Championship
fathers.
With that being said, fathers, we keep our kids on our arms when we hold them up. We hold our families on our back, and we try to do and lead our families the best way we can. Fathers, we'll see you back here next week, the Fatherhood Think Tank, where we will be here celebrating the birthday of yours truly. So come on back and let's have the celebration. We'll be looking at what it means to be a father at a certain age. I'll get the topic together, but we will be here next week. Thank you for joining us. We'll be all here back next week. Fatherhood Think Tank. Good night. Good night.
I am.